Good evening, everyone. I am Akriti, and today we have with us Miss Achal from ILS Pune, and we'll be interviewing her for you. Hi, Achal. So, can you please introduce your law school for everyone?
Yes, of course. Thanks, Akriti. Hi guys. My name is Anchal. I graduated from ILS Law College, Pune last year, 2019. I've been working as a corporate lawyer for Ernst& Young, Noida since then. Um, so to give you like a brief introduction of my college, it's a semi-governmental institution, which means that we are funded by the state government, right? As against the NLUs, which are funded by the central government. Um, so obviously it's located in Pune, right? We have the graduate courses that the college offers are BA, LLB, and LLB. That's all. We don't have any of the other combinations like BSL, LLB, or the other kinds. That's about the courses. We also, I think, college also gives in like post graduation courses and a lot of diploma courses. So there's a lot of diplomas in corporate law or environmental law and stuff like that. So that's something that comes in as well. Additionally,
The location of the
there is
college.
a right, yeah, that's Pune. That's it's sort of central Pune. It's the area where it's located. It's called Coates Road, and it's a nice area. So it's nice for students around. We also have an attendance policy at college. It's a mandatory 75% attendance that every student needs to have. However, there is like a so if you can submit like a medical certificate as well if you're like really sick or anything, but we need to have every student at every point needs to have 55% attendance every semester. If you don't have that, and this I've seen firsthand myself, the administration is really strict about it. So they end up like you get a year down, so you don't get to write the exams for that semester altogether, right? So that's something that they're really strict about. um, what else do they have? They don't have a dress code, so there's no issues with that. We have so the timings of the college are not very great for the first 2 years of college, the first and the second year. So I did the BA LLB there, right, the 5-year course. The first 2 years of college, the first 2 years is like from 10:30 to like 1:30. That's 3 hours of college for you. And the later part in the third, fourth, and fifth year, the college begins at 7:30 in the morning and ends at about 11:30. Yeah, so that's something we don't.
So,
I think that the main. Go ahead. Yes. Okay.
yeah, so what can a law student expect from the college with regards to the mooting culture of your college?
Right. So this is something that before I went into college, I knew about ILS, which is that it is famous for the litigators that it produces, right? When I say litigators, I mean people who practice in court. Right. So we do have a very strong mooting culture in college. It's something that is extremely, extremely important. So what happens is there are like internal qualifiers of the moots, right? So which means that they have like an internal in the college itself, they have an internal process where they give out there's a moot competition. And there are two kinds. There is one for the national moots, and then there is one for the international moots. So the national moots come in where every national. So based on the rankings of your internal of your performance in the internal moot court competition, you are chosen to represent the college further in the national moot courts and the international moot courts. So that is something really strong, and people take it really seriously. So that's quite interesting over there.
Would you like to add on to the journals? So, is there like a separate, like a separate committee by the students who run? Does your college have your own journal? And are there opportunities for students to go outside and also publish in journals and conferences?
Oh yeah, that's a very interesting question. So we do have this journal at college. It's called the Abhivakti Law Journal. It does have the ISSN mark, which means that it is an international journal. However, it's like a very it's not like we don't invite publications from outsiders. The only publications that are there in Abhivakti are of like students of ILS, right? But it's completely student curated, it's student coordinated. So the editors are students, the people who collect the articles, and you get like all those guidelines, of course, before they start working on it. But yeah, it's a completely student curated this thing. So any student who wants to be part of the editorial committee, there's obviously like a strict process that they follow before they admit someone in the editorial committee. So that is something that we do. That's about the journal. Additionally, as you said, like there's no restriction or bar on you as a student wanting to publish your articles outside of Abhidhamma. You can obviously just go around and publish your articles, or just seek any other publication. So that there's no bar over there. But however, I'd really like to mention this one thing about college. It's that this is as against what happens in other colleges, because like the time obviously of the college is so less that people tend to there's like a lot of other activities that go on in college. However, it's there's no pressure on you, which means that no one's sitting over your head, and there's no pressure in terms of you needing to complete like a certain task in like 3 months or 2 months or anything. So it's a very individualistic sort of an approach that you'll need to follow. Yeah. I think you could say that, but I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing, because it's just students that like you want to do it, you do it. You don't want to do it, there's no pressure on you. So a lot of students also miss out on opportunities because they just kind of lost in the process. So I think that's what happens about the.
So it's like all the students have to keep themselves updated with regards to call for applications, and the college itself does not take any prerogative for that. Have I understood it rightly?
I think that's safe to say. They do have like a notice board, and like they keep like posting stuff over there, but like how many students look and how many of us will ever look at the notice board, right? So there's no one really coming on to you, and since there's no deadlines or anything, I think it becomes a little difficult for students to just keep up. But again, as I said, like it's a very individualistic approach that you need to follow. So if you are really interested in something, I think you find the way, right? You find the means to do what you want to do. So I think that's something that.
Okay, with regards to the faculty, the two questions with it is, how is the quality of education, firstly? And secondly, what is the student-faculty ratio in your college?
So we don't really have a lot of people teaching us. It is safe to say that we have about 10 to 12 permanent teachers, right? And we have a lot of like visiting faculty, because there's a lot of subjects that keep changing, or like that have curriculum changes and all of that, which means that we do get a lot of temporary faculty coming in. But I would like to add that the teachers are, personally for me, I think that the faculty has been really, really nice. They have, they're experienced people. So they know everything about everything. And I think they're very approachable in that regard also. As regards to the ratio, the teachers to, so we have like a batch of 300, right? We have 100 students in each section. We have 3 sections in each year. So on paper, I think the strength is supposed to be 260 or 280 or something, but I think they just add 20 more students. So I think around 300 students we have in a batch. And one section, as I said, has 100 students. So we have teachers coming in and teaching 100 students at once. Not very great. But then again, I think, when you're in the same class for 5 years, I think the comfort level kind of just happens to build up, which is why you were able to, be part of discussions and everything. So that's quite a good thing about but yeah, we don't have like a lot of teachers or anything.
Okay, so there's this very interesting question. We are not sure of whether this information is right or not, but it is said that the ILS, does ILS have a hostel?
Oh yeah, it does. We have actually sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so is the hostel fee more than the academic fee? That is one question which has come.
Yes, it is. Yes, absolutely is. It's not a very good thing. So the thing about the boys' hostel is that it's terrible. Okay, the boys' hostel, it's really bad. We have 2 wings of the boys' hostel right when you enter the main gate of college. It's not very great. They don't have drinking water facilities in the hostel. The toilets are terrible. They don't have hot water facility in the hostel either. Pune winters are quite harsh. So the boys' hostel are really bad. I'm not sure about the fees, but I'm sure the boys' hostel, they charge like way lesser, because obviously they're not giving the facilities. But as I said, since the college is a semi-governmental institution, the tuition fees does not increase 45,000 for any given year. Right? I did not pay more than 45,000 for any year, any of my 5 years. But the girls' hostel, on the contrary, is quite good. I mean, it's still not the best. I think there's plenty of scope of improvement, but the fees they charge is extremely high. And it is and even despite giving the facilities that they give in the girls hostel, it's not in consonance with the fees that they're charging, right? So when I went in my first year, which is in 2014, I paid a whooping 1,42,000 for 1 year in the hostel. And that that 1 year also, I think for 4 months, I think I'm back at home because there's a lot of preparatory leave and like semester break and everything. So you can imagine, and the food is not exceptional, or the food and the facilities are not very great. So it's not really in consonance with the kind of money that they charge. But yeah, I think a lot of parents, prefer to keep their students in the hostel, especially girl students. So I think that's the reason why the hostels are almost full all the time. But
About the
yeah, it's not.
accommodation outside or nearby the college, is that firstly allowed? And if
Yes.
yes, then are there enough facilities available nearby?
Oh yeah, I think there are loads of options, right? So I think you'll find plenty of PGs around college. And when I say around college, like I'm talking about like 100 to 500 meters distance, right? There are plenty of PGs. You'll also get apartments. There's another hostel which is in Karve Nagar, which is some 3 kilometers away from college, but it's a really good hostel. I think a lot of it's a girls' hostel. A lot of girl students prefer to live there because the fees is like comparatively low, and the facilities are great over there. So that's the thing. But yeah, I think there are plenty of options. There's hostels, there's PGs, there's all kinds of things. So you don't have to worry about that if you're not living on campus. So that's
Okay,
out.
with regards to the resources, so what are the facilities available for mooting, research paper? What are the facilities, firstly, with respect to library and computer labs?
Right. So we have a huge library, and that is something that was a very good incentive when I first joined in. We have a huge library. It's a three-floored library, and we have more than 30,000 books. Right. Most of them are locked up because they're so old. The college is like it's been there for like a century now. So they're really old books. So most of them are like not most of them, but like a couple of them are still locked up. But there's like plenty of books. You'll find all kinds of books. There's fiction, there's non-fiction, law-related, non-related. So it's a huge library. The computer lab is not huge, but we do have, I think I should say, about 30 computers that are available for students. Most of us, when we first joined in, had our own personal laptops, which kind of took care of our needs. But we do have the computers, and I think any student can just go and like access the computers at any time. The timings of the library are 9 to 9, so it's not like we're not open over the night. So that's something that wasn't very nice. But yeah, the computers are there. We have access to databases as well. There is a
Yeah.
database called Manupatra, which has all the cases, right, of the Indian law that we have access. It's a free access that we have. Then we have some international portals as well. Um, but they're still not sufficient, honestly, for like all legal purposes or research purposes that students take out. They're not sufficient. The database accesses, I mean. But yeah, the internet connection is there. There's Wi-Fi in the college. There's Wi-Fi in the hostels or LAN connections in the hostels. So that is sorted. But yeah, the library is huge, and I think it takes care of like
So
the reading material.
are these databases accessible only within the premise of the college, or is it available outside? So do you have like a username, or is it just the Wi-Fi of college or the
No,
database?
it is on the Wi-Fi of college, Akriti. Yeah, so you can't access it
Okay.
elsewhere. Yeah, it's only on campus that so I should be in the Wi-Fi.
Okay. Now, this is a very important question, and this is with regards to the social and mental well-being of the students. So, how would you rate it, and do you think that there is enough mental health programs and initiatives in your in your college campus to help students?
No, I wouldn't say that we do. We do have a counselor that comes in. I mean, I don't know if it's changed now, but like for the time that I was there, we did have a counselor coming in. I think she came in for 3 days a week or 2 days a week or something of that sort. And anyone could like go and talk to her. But apart from that, I don't think there were any other programs or initiatives that the college actually took in terms of like taking care of the mental health of students. However, I think, as I said, the because the faculty is so approachable, and I think most of where the students are active are within the students, right? Like the unity between like seniors and juniors, it's incredible. So, we're constantly interacting with our seniors, we're constantly interacting with our juniors. So I think that's something that really gives out the boost and
So
really
the freshers can confide in with the faculty as well as the seniors, you would say.
absolutely. I think that is something that really helps. So yeah, I think that is why something that you're not really having official mental health agencies in place, that kind of, I think, compensates the fact that you are, you're approaching and talking to your seniors and juniors all the time. So that's something that really helps.
Would you like to add on to the life of students on and would you like to add on to the life of students on and off campus in terms of
Yes.
social interaction?
Right. Yeah. So I don't know if this would strictly be counted as a social interactions, but we do have a lot of cells, like student coordinated cells in colleges. As I said, the timings of college are so limited that we are left with a lot of free time. So in this free time, there's a lot of cells that operate. For example, the corporate law cell, or the environmental law cell, or the gender studies cell. There's a lot of cells in place like that, and you can just participate in them. This helps in interacting with the seniors a lot, because they are absolutely coordinated by the seniors. There's barely any involvement of faculty there unless there is an issue. The faculty does not come into play. So there's just great opportunities to just go in, learn about new things, interact with your students, interact with their seniors or juniors. So I think that is something that really helps with the social life on campus. We have a huge playground. We have a swimming pool inside the campus. We have a gym inside the campus. There's a hill that's on the campus which you could just go hiking. So there've been some really good. I think all these places students really come together and just kind of relax and discuss things. So I think that is very, very important. Life off campus, I'm not sure if I don't know. It's a tricky question, because it's a lot of distribution. A lot of like the first years are living on campus. A lot of first years are living off campus. But I've lived on campus as well as off campus. So I can tell you that I did not have any issues at all. I was living in PGs outside. I was living in another hostel. I was living in on campus. But yeah, the fact that you form such strong friendships because you're away from home, right? I'm from Nagpur, but I went to study in Pune. Most of the students there are outstation students. So that is something that really helps just, be like just binding all of us together. It's a common force. So I think that is something that really helps students to like get over things that they're really dealing with. I mean, obviously it's a very personal experience. It comes from a place of privilege.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, a lot of us also seem to, find comfort in that. So that has been great. And I think so you shouldn't like that worry that I don't know how I'm going to be gelling with like students on campus or anything shouldn't be there, because it's just some incredible support and comfort that the seniors provide you. So I think that helps.
Yeah, with respect to networking opportunities, since you already said that most people who want to take up litigation also would like to get into ILS, what are the opportunities for networking off campus, especially?
That's also a tricky question. So see, I don't, okay, like when on campus, we do have like a placement cell in place which helps you like network, and when there's an internship cell in place, that helps you network with like firms, etc. outside. But like I think opportunities to network outside campus are not, that not something that ILS really, talks about, not something that ILS deals with. ILS in that sense is a very internally or like self-sufficient sort of a place. I mean, they like to believe that they're self-sufficient. Obviously, they're not for a student like me.
Okay.
So all these internship cells and placement cells and everything, and like as I said, these student coordinated cells, right? They get a lot of. We have a lot. Oh, I should tell you about this. There are a lot of events that take place throughout the year, right? So as I said, the moot court competition, we have judges coming in from outside college. We have a lot of events, webinars these days, but like seminars otherwise, and other like, meetings and all these discussions and symposiums, all these things, which really, there are a lot of like people coming in from outside, and some really, really good like speakers and academicians and everything. So when you're part of all these activities personally and you're really helping coordinate, I think you get in touch with all these people that might really help you for in college or outside college. So I think that's something that is good for networking. Apart from that, we do have an internship cell. Not very well organized, honestly. We do have a placement cell as well, not very well organized, and money making device for the college. But yeah, I think for all practical purposes, for someone like me, I was placed in with the college campus, right? So for someone like me, I think I got a good opportunity. It worked out well for me. But for someone who, we pay 15,000 to just be able to sit for the placements. Yeah, like me, who I was not very confident about anyways. So to pay that 15,000 was like a bit of it was a tricky part. I didn't know if I would get a job. So I was just wondering if I should be paying the 15,000 at all. And a lot of students don't end up getting jobs at all. So it just becomes a little bit of a problem over there. But yeah, I think otherwise just, again, like I'm going back to the same point, but being in touch with the seniors really helps you because all the seniors pass out and they actually see the real world and they're just so nice and approachable and very helpful. So I think that kind of really helps us just be able to understand the opportunities or the way of life outside college. So,
Yeah,
I
that's
hope that
true.
answers your question.
Yes, it does. And what I would like to also add on to this is that I personally have also met a lot of students, pass outs from ILS, and this is one thing which is I think is astonishing for us because the relationship between the seniors and juniors, if they're working, they make sure they help their juniors out get placed or get internships. So that is one thing even I have picked up, and I think you've confirmed in this webinar that the atmosphere is probably like a very good educational as well as recreational atmosphere within the juniors and the seniors in your college. At the end, this is the last question, and to join this college, and what could be the possible demerits?
Yeah. So, I think a lot of the demerits have already stated. Like it's just the fact that we don't have any pressure, which could obviously work in your favor or against you.
All against.
There is no one to sit on your head and tell you that write these research papers or give me this research paper in the next 3 months. You have to write 2 research papers this semester. It's nothing of that sort. The only thing that the college that is really serious about is one, the attendance, and other, the academics. Academics also, it's not really in their it's still obviously it's affiliated to the Pune University, so it's not really something that the college they're like, okay, we're going to be taking your classes, you come in, you don't come in, it's your business. We need 75% attendance. So that's there. So I think that the fact that there is no pressure on you can be a little bit of a problem for someone who's not very active in terms of who needs some sort of pressure to work. So that is something that is not a very good thing. Additionally, yeah, as I said, the hostel, it's a terrible boys hostel is quite bad, and the girls hostel also charges some exorbitant amount of money. So that's another thing. And more than again, I think the fact that the college timings are extremely limited is also a problem because you don't get enough time with your teachers. You don't get enough time like in that academic setting with friends where you can really discuss about what's really going on. I think also the fact that we are still affiliated to the university, we've been really trying to get autonomy for the past few years. It's not been working out for some of the other reason, but we're still affiliated to Pune University, and I believe personally that the curriculum that we follow is quite outdated. We need like an updated syllabus at college to, and looking at the fact that ILS is one of the topmost institutions in the country, it's not very nice to know that we're still following something, and like we read like wealth tax and all of that, which is not even there anymore. So that is something that is a bit of a problem. I think the curriculum needs like a very good refurbishing, and I don't know when that's going to happen. So that's there. We don't have a very good canteen also. I mean, obviously, like students end up going there because there's no other option available. So it's like we say, kaam chalao. So you can just go to the canteen, or it's not very good. What else is there? Oh yeah, this is something important. I think student issues are not taken very seriously at college. A lot of, I think there's a lot of apathy around just how students want to function. And I think a lot of that comes from the fact that that the faculty really needs authority and they really want to try to like control everything. So students dealt with well, which is why I think teachers are also a little like, whatever about it. But yeah, I think students are really like taking the, like, there's a lot of power in students. So I think they're really taking the baton ahead. Apart from that, I think we're good. I think that's about all the demerits there. But we do have like an excellent we we can research the great library. I think for all academic purposes, I think we are self-sufficient in that sense, except that we don't have a great syllabus. But yeah, I think other than that, we're good.
So apart from all this, would you recommend this institution to students?
I would see Akriti. I am like an alumni of the college, right? And I'm always going to be biased for the college for obvious reasons. But I really would, there are things that might not be the best, and there are things that don't really work out at college. But I think you turn out well. I think you just need to put in the kind of effort that you would put in any other, law school.
So one thing which I've picked up from the entire interview is that I think if you're self-driven and you're someone who can like just approach your seniors, and because they are very friendly along with the faculty themselves, and since the resources are available, I think it pretty much covers up all what you need from law school, really. So if we have any questions, would it be okay for you that we take it up later, since this session is run really long? So what I would suggest is it okay if you like answer questions and we'll just forward it to you from our from WhatsApp?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I'll be happy to help.
Okay, thank you so much.